Hi everyone, me again on a lovely day in Smyrna, Georgia. I thought I'd tell you about my recent experience with my local dealer. He was replacing a broken part on this, on my lovely 2007 V-Star, and got about 35,000 miles on it. Oh, that was loud. Got about 35,000 miles on it, and I had a broken part and had to have it replaced. And I've been into the dealer before. In fact, Susan and I bought our Spider there. And we had her bike in getting a rear tire put on it. And he called me to tell me it was ready. And I try to always deal with the same guy. You know, that's really good advice. Let me give you lots of advice from looking back on almost 65 years. If you talk to a guy in the service department, always be sure when you get back in touch with the service department, you ask for the same guy, because nobody else seems to know what's going on. And that's just normal. I know when I was in the parts business, if I talked to you, I knew what was happening. If you talked to the other guys in the department, they wouldn't have a clue. So anyway, he calls and says the bike's, Susan's bike's ready, so I take this in. I'd already ordered the replacement part so that we wouldn't have to wait. He could get working right on it. And when I took it in, he told me that they had really gotten booked up. A lot of bikes had come in, and that he would just have to try to fit me in somewhere. And he says it might be later that day, it might be later the next day. I said, okay, that's fine, no problem. I had lots of time because I had a week to go before I had to go to another meetup up in Tellico Plains area. And so I was lots of time just to swap out a part and do an oil change, which is what I asked him to do as that as well. Okay, well, we're sitting around, don't hear anything from him that day, which didn't really expect to. And the next day, I call in about lunchtime, and I can't get hold of my man. He's at lunch, and I talked to another guy, and I said, look, I am, told him who I was, said what I had brought in there, and he said, okay, it's not on the schedule. Let me look and see real quick. And he came back and he said, well, he hadn't had a chance to get to it yet, but I think we'll still be able to get to it this afternoon. Give us a call later on. Or said, he said, I'll call you later. And I said, okay, fine, great. All right, well, wife and I are sitting there trying to decide what we're going to do for supper. It's 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 o'clock that night. They close at 7, and I haven't heard anything from him. So my wife says, hey, look, why don't you give him a call? We'll just find out what's going on, and then we can go ahead and make supper plans. So I called over there, and lo and behold, I talked to a third different guy. Well, I get him on the phone, and he says, Mr. Smith, you already picked up your bike. And I said, no. I said, I picked up my Spider. I said, I brought you another bike at the same time. He said, oh, well, I don't see anything here about it. Let me go back and check on it for you. I said, okay, fine. So I sat on the phone for a couple of minutes, listening to dead silence. And he comes back on the phone. He says, Mr. Smith, I said, they're really, really booked up there in the back. It's going to be the end of next week before they can even look at it. And I said, no, that's not what I was told. And he said, well, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry. We just got a lot of people in front of you. And I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to come get it. I can't leave it there that long. So I'll be over there in just about 30 minutes to pick it up. And he was a little bit flustered, and he said, okay, all right, yes, sorry, Mr. Smith, sorry. I said, okay, no. Well, we're sitting there, and traffic's really bad between 5 and about 6, trying to get to the dealership from where we are. And so my wife said, hey, let's just sit here and chill on the sofa for a little while, and we'll wait, and we'll go about 6. And I said, okay, great. Well, 10 minutes later, I get a call from the guy I originally talked to. Says, Mr. Smith, I'm really sorry. He said, nobody told me you had called. Your bike is on the lift right now. We're working on it. We're going to have it done, and we'll have it done by 6:30. You just come on up, and we'll have you ready. I started laughing. I said, okay, man, I'll be there. So my wife and I go up there, and I walk in right about 6:30, and the main door to the service department's open, and I can see my bike up on the lift. And so my wife had ridden me up on the Spider, so we just hung around for a while. We started talking to another guy who had a Spider, and gave him some information on the Spider Riders of Atlanta, and he said he'd get up with some of his buddies that ride and see if we couldn't get them into the club as well. And I talked to all the guys in the service department. And, you know, we laughed, had a good time, and the tech calls the service manager over, and he says, "Mr. Smith, you need to see this." And I said, "Okay." So I walk back in there to his station, and the bike's still up on the lift, and he says, "Honest to God, I wasn't pulling on anything hard, I wasn't bending anything, I wasn't banging on anything, and this plastic cover just fell apart." And it's the little chrome cover on the outside that covers the steel cover next to the pulley. And it's you know, it's plastic with that chrome film on it, you know, so it looks like a piece of chrome. And I just had to laugh. And the service manager, before I could even say anything, the service manager said, "Mr. Smith, don't you worry about a thing. We're going to get you a new one of those ordered Monday morning first thing. And when it comes in, you just come on over here and we'll stop whatever we're doing and we'll slap it on for you, no charge." And I said, "Well, that's fair enough." And so I went out and told my wife, and we both had a good chuckle, because it's funny, you know, I don't know if you have experiences like this, but every time we bring a motorcycle over to get worked on, something gets broken. Every single time. They broke the mirror on the Spider. They broke, what did they break? Gosh, I forget all the stuff they broke. They forgot to hook stuff up. It's always something, you know? And my wife has the same experience with the Ford dealer that she goes to take her car. Every time she takes it in for anything, something else is broken. She took it in for an oil change one time, and she got in it and the doggone radio wasn't working. Somehow they'd messed up the radio. And it wasn't a coincidental thing. They found what the problem was, and somehow they'd been poking around in something and, you know, knocked something out on the radio. I don't know why they were up underneath the dash, or maybe it was underneath the hood. I don't know. But she says this is about the 4th time she's taken it in, and she hates to take it now because every time they break something. But everybody was up front. You know, I didn't fault the mechanic on it. This thing's, like I said, it's 10 years old. It stays outside a lot. That little cover has seen a lot of sunlight, a lot of dirt, and lately a lot of rain. So, you know, I don't blame him for that. I think it's great that they're going to get me a new part. But, you know, I just think it's hilarious. So I just thought I'd recount my latest experience at the dealer. I know you guys have them too, but oh well. Well, hope everybody's having a great day. I'm got to merge here into the traffic, so I'm going to let you guys go. And hope you guys are out riding and having a great time. Don't forget, it's going to be winter soon. Better get out there and get those miles on. Take care. Bye-bye.